Does fate need your permission to change your life? Today, we step into a strange place where destiny plays its own game. Inspired by the Twilight Zone episode, Mr. Denton on Doomsday, a broken gunslinger gets a second chance. But fate isn't what it seems. A deal is struck, a price is paid, and nobody escapes unchanged. Today's tarot questions tap into this strange energy to reveal whether you're making the moves or being moved, player or pawn. Let's step into the cards and find out where fate is leading you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back, or welcome if this is the first time you've been on this channel. So we're going to hop right in to the first question in this Twilight Zone inspired episode 3. The question is fate a fixed force, or can it be changed? So, is destiny set in stone, or is it flexible? All right, so we're going to start with oracle cards first and then pull tarot afterwards for more information. And our first card here is Winter. And the second card, and these are all newly mixed. So almost like having brand new piles. All right, Man in the Iron Mask. This Gun for Hire. And the last one before we start reading. Okay, so making sure you can see everything. We have Field of Dreams. Okay, so with the Winter card, I'm going to say that fate is frozen. We have all this frozen, it's not a thaw. It's not like coming into spring. We are in the throes of winter here. So I'm going to take this to mean that no, fate is not flexible, isn't meant to be flexible, and perhaps destiny is set in stone. So let's keep going. With the Man in the Iron Mask, this is kind of saying you can't really be anybody but yourself. You can't hide behind something else. You can't say, oh, I would rather be this. Put on a mask and become that. You could, but I don't think probably it would end well. So let's see where this goes. This Gun for Hire. This kind of reminds me of one of the shows like that people are on the run because people are after them. And I feel like if you attempt to change fate and you attempt to hide from fate, trying to be somebody different, putting on a mask and trying to be somebody different, I feel like you will be left looking over your shoulder all the time, waiting for something to happen because nothing feels natural. Nothing is the way it's meant to be, and there's something creepy about it happening. Like you have to look over your shoulder all the time as though you can feel someone watching you, and you may very well can. And then we have Field of Dreams. This is the peaceful, wonderful place that you have begun to build. And this is what life is meant to be. Look how relaxed he is. And the focus is definitely on the person that he is in this card. So let's see what else we have. We have Fallen Angel, Westworld, and Signs. So with Fallen Angel, I feel like this is kind of like the looking over your shoulder all the time. That this is a feeling that you're out of favor. Things just really aren't going the way that they're supposed to. Or they feel very, very robotic. Very robotic. So if this is something that you're contemplating, something that is going on within your life, maybe you should ask for signs. Signs to determine what direction will lead you back to this peaceful place, this original building plan. We'll put it that way. So let's see what the tarot has to share. So, card 1 that goes with winter. It's Knight of Swords. And the Knight of Swords is an action card. It's kind of like taking on, having an idea and acting on it. So you might have had the idea to see if you can change fate or not. There's your idea. Fate is resisting, obviously. Man in the Iron Mask, we have the Eight of Pentacles. This is showing someone who feels as though they have no power, none whatsoever. No matter what they do, they cannot fool fate. No matter what mask they put on, they can't fool fate. Fate pulls them back to the original place. Judgment. Yeah, here's that feeling. And isn't that funny? We have this kind of creepy being. Let's see if I can get it to focus here. This kind of creepy being looking over her shoulder, as we talked about. And I'm sorry, that won't focus quite right. But this creepy being looking over her shoulder, holding her in place. Whether she can see this being or not, she's in color. He is not, he or she is not. So again, looking over the shoulder, just that creepy feeling that you're being watched. And then we have the Ten of Wands. This is the card that goes with this perfect place. This is what you built with your imagination. It's what fate is based on. And this would be a good place to say, maybe watching episode 2 of the Twilight Zone inspired series, this kind of seems almost a continuation of that one. I'll put a link in the description box below, and you should be seeing something pop out in the upper right hand corner. I never can point the right way here. All right, and then Fallen Angel, Ace of Pentacles. And with the Fallen Angel, we were talking about feeling as though you're out of favor. And Ace of Pentacles is kind of like the gift of life. You've been given the gift of life, and life has huge potential. But that's if you're following your dreams, your field of dreams, what you imagined, what you brought forth for this life. Not if you're trying to completely rewrite it. And then Westworld, we have Page of Pentacles. And again, Westworld was kind of the feeling of being very robotic. Kind of like, let's say you were frozen and you were starting to thaw. Things aren't going to move quite like they're supposed to. And the Page of Pentacles is saying, there's a message here that you need to begin again. Try this again. And then we have the Four of Pentacles with the signs. This is trying to hold on to life the way you want it to be. But the signs are saying, hold on to the life that you planned. That's what you should be holding on to. And those are the signs that you're actually getting. And you're also getting the feeling signs of the creepy feel, somebody watching you thing, and just feeling off, feeling out of favor. So let us pick all these up here and move on to question 2 here. And if you're new to this, this is how I actually put all my cards back. It might take a little bit longer, but it does assure that things are mixed up really well. And if we get duplicate cards, we know that we have to pay attention to them, that they're important, not just because the shuffle was not good enough. Okay. Almost there. Okay, so question 2. When does fate step in and when does it step back? In other words, how and when does fate interfere with our free will? Kind of like what we were seeing in question 1. Feeling like a victim in a way, not being able to change who you are drastically like the man in the iron mask. All right, so we have love me or leave me. And we have the giver. Whoa. No, we don't want jumpers. So we're going to put those on the bottom. We have contact. And all right, and we have carry on wayward son. Okay, so again, when does fate step in and when does it step back? How and when does fate interfere with free will? So we have love me or leave me. I think this is saying one of two things. One, if you don't like the way things are working, tough. Love me or leave me. So I think it's also saying love the way things are working or decide to, and this is kind of dark, but decide to end life as you know it. So in other words, you would be risking all the disfavor and whatever might happen, whatever destructive things might happen if you stray that far off the beaten track, like in question 1. If you really want to change that badly, go ahead, leave me. But the consequences are yours. So the point with life here, fate will not step in if you are doing the things that are, I'm going to say, in service to others. If you're doing good and you're being truthful and you're following your freedom and giving to others, fate will never step in. It will just let you keep flowing with what it is that you're doing. With contact, I feel like this is just saying, listen for the messages. Fate will tell you or give you clues, I think, concerning life in general. Maybe what direction you should go, or if you have a question like, hey, can I change this? Can I do this? And the message may come to you, just like the signs card that we saw in question 1. With Carry On Wayward Son, this is saying the whole point here is to find a better version of yourself, to overcome struggle. But when you battle with who you are and what comes naturally to you, this is a difficult lesson to learn. Fate will step in if you're overgiving, certainly, and you'll discover that you're being taken advantage of because you're doing too much for other people and not paying attention to you. There's a balance here that needs to be done. So let's pull some more. We have communication, Clockwork Orange, and divine timing. So communication with this person whispering in the ear, that's pretty clear cut, and it goes along with the messages here. If what you're planning, what you're trying to do is a good thing, fate will not step in. If what you're doing is not in your best interest, you might get whispered to, communicated with, because what you're going to do or what you're doing may end up being quite the huge lesson, quite a struggle for you. And with the Clockwork Orange, this is literally about changing something completely about you and discovering that the change that you're trying to make really doesn't mesh with who you actually chose to come in as. There will come a time after you've passed that you can do a different kind of life. Go more along the lines with whatever it is you're trying to do in this one. It's very important that you go on the divine timing. There's a lot to learn. You've planned a lot here, and fate is just trying to keep you on track. So let's see what Tarot has to share. Oop. Well, for heaven's sake. Just wants to keep on a flippin'. With some readings, I actually do take jumpers, but not for these. All right, so we have the Seven of Swords. And the Seven of Swords, a lot of people look at as the thief. And that is probably factual with some things. However, I take it more along the lines of we don't have enough information to really make a decision about anything. We see this person here, and she's stealing swords. At least we think she's stealing them. But what if she's hiding them from someone to keep them safe? What if she's taking them off to sharpen them so that when whoever's going to use them in battle can be the best that they can be? There's not enough information here, not enough communication. So this is also saying, here's your choice, love me or leave me. Communicate to me what it is that you want to do, but don't do it until you hear from me. Might not be a part of the plan. And then we have the Hanged Man. Sometimes living the good life, living a good life, being in service to others and speaking your truth and your freedom, sometimes there's a whole new perspective to that you might have to consider why this would be a problem with fate. Well, if I want to go off and, be a missionary somewhere, I'm being of service to others. But if that wasn't a part of your plan to start with, then it's going clear off the beaten track. It's becoming something you never planned. So let's go forward. We have the Moon. Okay, so contact here. Again, this is like a message from fate. And it isn't that difficult to either miss the message, not see it clearly, or make yourself believe it means something completely different. So if there's something that you want to do really, really bad, and you go ahead and do it, and you try to use the excuse that, well, I thought this is what you told me to do, it won't fly. And we have the Emperor. Yeah, again, carry on, wayward son. This is the plan. This is the better version of yourself. This is the life that you chose to put yourself through this time around. You're the Emperor. You're in charge of this life. But if you can't go with the flow, if you can't follow what it is that you were meant to do, fate will be the Emperor. We have Nine of Wands. So this is, kind of telling you that you're kind of back up against a wall when it comes to fate. Sometimes it has a little bit of leeway, and other times you are going to get battle worn because you're fighting it. When indeed you really wouldn't have to if you would take time to stop and listen. And then we have the Fool. Yeah. It's a risk. Whatever it is that you choose to do, if you want to change yourself to something completely different, not only are you going to be fighting your own personality, you'll be fighting fate as well. And that's a risk you'll have to take. But again, we have the attitude of love me or leave me. And then we have Justice. Yeah. Doing things in divine timing as they're meant to be. Once you've passed, you can relive whatever you want. You can go whatever direction that you want with your next life. There's justice in that. But you have to be fair and impartial to the life that you are currently living. So fate steps in when you're waving off the path in a really drastic kind of manner, trying to change yourself. Or somebody else may be trying to change you also, that fate is not okay with. So let us pick all this up and move on to question 3. So I hope you're enjoying this reading. If you are, please don't hesitate to like and subscribe, comment even, and sharing. Sharing is also good. It helps grow the channel. So I just really love doing these kinds of readings a great deal. So I hope that you are having a good time watching them too. All right. So question 3, and also, by the way, if you are hearing snoring, that is, you'll probably hear snoring in every video that I do because I have a Chihuahua who really enjoys being in my room with me, and his favorite pastime while I'm recording is the snoring. Yep, that's his part in all this. All right, so question 3. Does fate offer blessings disguised as a curse? So this is showing the hidden gifts that are behind all the hardships or the strange twists that will be sent your way. We have Eye of the Tiger. We have Love Me or Leave Me Again. Definite message in that card. And we have The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down. And we have the Giver again. Okay, so reiterating the question, does fate offer blessings disguised as curses? So this is showing the hidden gifts behind the hardships and the strange twists. The Eye of the Tiger. You're being watched. Fate is definitely watching what is going on, and it's not going to be fooled. You always have free will. This is saying you always have free will. So you either love how fate is handling things for you, or you leave it behind, meaning you take your chance. You take the risk of doing something different. Is fate going to come after you? With the night they drove old Dixie down, is fate going to come after you? No. But they will continue to watch and see if you are actually being of service to others, if you're following your own truth, speaking your own truth, if you are living the way that you're meant to live. Let's see what more we have here. Connection. A clockwork orange again. Same spot. And ball of confusion. So you're meant to have a connection. You're meant to understand fate and realize that there is always a little bit of give and take here. When you go off the beaten track to such a degree, okay, where, and again, this could be somebody else leading you astray also that you're falling for hook, line, and sinker, okay? Either way, you'll be different, but it's never going to be comfortable. It's always going to be this chaos, this crazy feeling where you know you're just not doing things quite the way you feel you should. And it's being connected to yourself that makes you realize that something's just not right. So fate will throw in as much confusion as possible. Is it a gift or is it a curse? Fate is trying to keep you on the straight and narrow. They're watching what you're doing. And with this, interestingly enough, I kind of like to think of fate as people. Or maybe I should say as like our spirit guides and our angels. People that we ask before we ever become a human on earth to help us stay on the path that we have actually mapped out for ourselves before ever being born. And I feel like, to me, that is fate. Fate can be a thing, but for me, fate is more of a person. So I know that these guides have their eye on me. I know that whether I like it or not, that's the way it's going to be, because that is what I requested of them. They're not going to come after me. There's nothing that they can do in the wake of my free will. Okay, if I choose to go off the beaten track completely, they can do nothing about it except for continue to give signs and signs and signs and hope that something will click in my mind that will make the signs happen. Fate, in this case, I think when all of this is put aside, when I'm not doing the things that I'm supposed to do, I'm not staying connected to my true self, and I try to become something completely different, something out of the realm, then I think fate is considered this mess that I create. This is the mess. This is actually fate to me. All right, so anyway, let's see what tarot has to say. So we have the Ten of Swords with the Eye of the Tiger. Yeah, I'm going back to, again, the ones watching us. This is the Ten of Swords, and this is the ultimate communication. It is where communication is the strongest, so in my opinion, this is, again, our spirit guides, our angels, anyone else that even past loved ones for that matter. All right, so then we have Six of Pentacles. Well, I think this is saying, if you want life to be good and you want life to be harmonious, love me. If you leave me, probably won't be that way. And with the Four of Swords is kind of another death card. A little bit different, but another death card. So it's saying, if you leave me, I'm not going to track you down. The spirit guides and angels, and they're not going to track you down. But you may die because the plan is not meant to be or to go this way. And this is about war, death. All right, so then we have the Empress. If you remember in the last question, we had the Emperor in this center position. So yes, you are the one who has created the life you're supposed to be living. And that is a life of being in service to others, speaking your truth, living your freedom, being who you birthed that individual when you made the plan before birthing, being born. Connection, we've got King of Pentacles. If your connection stays strong with who you're meant to be, your life is going to be a really good life. You will be in control of what you choose, what you do, but it will be with the giver in mind, always. And with the Clockwork Orange, we have the Seven of Wands. Yeah, this is a place where you would have to be on the defensive all the time. Be on the defensive because fate is going to throw some things your way that you are really going to have a difficult time with. And then we have the Page of Swords. Yeah, this is the message fate is communicating with you. It's going to be a ball of confusion if you attempt to stray off the beaten path. The one that you chose, the one that is yours and belongs to you, the one that you wanted to have, and it's going to give you hardships and strange twists. But in a way, it's also going to be a gift, because if it gets you back on the right track, that would be a gift. All right, so let us get this picked up and move on to question 4. There are 5 questions in this reading, and possibly a bonus. It just depends. When we get to the end, whether we need that bonus or not, we will see. All right, so there's those. Interesting how the Clockwork Orange and the Giver and Love Me or Leave Me came up in this reading with all the cards that we have here to work with. Okay. So question 4. Can fate be trusted, or is it a trickster? Is fate an ally or not? Does it do the ball of confusion for your own good? Or is it just claiming to? Okay, so question 1 with Night of the Living Dead. They keep coming back in a bloodthirsty... Try that again. They keep coming back in a bloodthirsty lust for human flesh. Pits the dead against the living in a struggle for survival. All right. Second card. Fallen Angel. Wow. Okay. Kind of know where things stand since they keep giving us same cards here. And we have Ghostbusters. All right. Then we have Aaron Brockovich. All right, so question again, can fate be trusted, or is it a trickster? We have Night of the Living Dead here. And I think this is saying you might think that fate is after you. No matter what you do, Things keep coming back, the ball of confusion, things keep happening, you don't know why they're happening, and you feel like you're just being eaten alive. We'll put it that way. You've fallen out of favor. You are trying to do something, be something that you were never meant to be. So fate is stepping in and doing its job, okay? Just doing its job. And with Ghostbusters, says they're here to save the world. So I'm going to say that your spirit team, which would be your spirit guides, your angels, fate, whoever else, they're here to save you. Just like in Erin Brockovich, she found the problem. She worked her butt off, did the research, met the people, did everything she could to save the people of this town from the bad company. Okay? So I'm going to say that fate can be a trickster, yes, but for good reason. We have Age of Aquarius, let the sunshine in. We have signs, and we have frequency. Okay, so with the Age of Aquarius, this is the time when people are starting to understand a lot more about life and death. It's the cosmic awakening. And one of the things that's being learned is love is huge. Love needs to be a very large part of life. That's how service to others works. If you didn't love humanity, you wouldn't enjoy the work. Signs, again, we've had it in the previous question over here, but signs is saying sometimes things are exactly as you think they are. If you're feeling this and you're getting signs that kind of continue to make you feel this way, that's fate being a trickster. It's trying to scare you into the straight and narrow. Trying to scare you back to being that humanitarian that you were meant to be. Your spirit team is helping too, because that is how you're supposed to be, what you signed up for, I guess you could say, in this Age of Aquarius. And you have a specific frequency that you come in with, a frequency that allows you to be this humanitarian, this wonderful person, this lovely individual, a part of this Age of Aquarius, the collective love. That frequency needs to be held for the good of everybody. So yes, fate can be a trickster, but fate and your team are here to lead you the right direction. So if you feel like you're being eaten alive and you're getting scary signs, or what you consider scary signs, and you're feeling like you're just out of favor, you probably are. These are the things that they're trying to get through to you. So I'm going to say fate is an ally. It's there for a reason. So let's see what tarot has to share. And pretty much I think all of us have gone through this where we just feel as though life has turned on us. But if we actually take a really close look, we can see where we took a wrong turn or what just doesn't feel right to us. So Night of the Living Dead, we have Knight of Cups. This is taking stock of our emotions, taking stock of what we're really feeling and why. We have the Page of Pentacles. This is just initiating a new way, a new start, not the fallen angel, getting back into favor. So you have to change something, start something new. This is the message. This is fate and your team saying, this is all you have to do. take stock of your emotions, how you really feel, act on it, and start something new. Then we have the Ten of Swords. They're trying so hard to communicate with you. So hard. Ten of Swords is the ultimate communication. They're trying really hard to get you back on track. And when I'm saying you, I'm saying in general, anybody that is watching this, if it rings true to you, great. Otherwise, this is just a Twilight Zone inspired reading that is meant to be fun. So here we have Erin Brockovich and the Five of Pentacles. Oh yeah, she went through some crazy stuff getting to the bottom of the scenario or the situation with the company. Life was not good for a while for her, but persistence and being in service changed all that. Here we have the Page of Swords with the Age of Aquarius. And again, we're back to communication. It's all about communicating, hearing the messages, and understanding that this is the age that we're in. Our intuition and the way we think is going to be more powerful than pretty much anything. High Priestess. Yep. High Priestess would be these guys doing things in secret, and Fate joined in, doing things in secret to scare you back onto the path. Not sure, can't even give you an example of a sign that you might receive, but if it's a little freaky, yeah, that it's probably trying to lead you back to the way or where you were meant to be. And then the Two of Cups. Yeah, this is my card for coming together, bringing the shadow and the light self back together and being in the correct frequency. This is the whole point of all of this, to get you back into the frequency. Your frequency never really, the frequency you come in with, it's specific. You come in with it. It varies. I'm trying to think of how to explain this a little bit better. Your frequency is like a fingerprint. You have a different one than anybody else. Okay, nobody has the same frequency as you do. There are some who are very close to having a frequency like yours, and they probably would become very good friends with you. You think alike, you do things alike, you believe in the same things, that kind of thing. And then as you go further down the scale, the farther end are those people that you will never be able to relate to, more than likely. It's not impossible, but their frequency is totally, totally different. When you are comfortable with who you are, your frequency is powerful. That specific frequency that you have is powerful. That frequency never really changes from the frequency you came in with, were born with, but it can get weaker and it can get stronger. So it can change that way. So, can fate be trusted? I believe fate can be trusted. It, along with your spirit team, has your best interest in mind. Always. Might do it in kind of a trickster kind of way, because if you're hard-headed like I am, sometimes I know that my guide, I picture her sitting wherever she is and beating her head against the wall, going, why can't she get it? Why doesn't she get it? Why doesn't she understand the signs? Kind of a funny picture, actually. Okay, so we have question 5. What mystery about fate is not meant to be understood? It's what we probably will never know in human form. Once we move into spirit, any question we have would be answered. But what mystery about fate is not meant to be understood? So we have Die Hard. We have Summer. Ghostbusters again. Same position even. And I Dreamed of Africa. Okay, so what mystery about fate is not meant to be understood? I'm going to say with the Die Hard card, we don't know if fate ever dies. Is fate a person? Is fate an idea? What is it? Does it ever die? Does it ever fall away? Is fate ever warm? Easy to understand? Is fate brilliant? In other words, in the mind. Whatever kind of mind fate might have. Is it a part of our spirit team? I believe fate is a part of our spirit team. And there's part of me, literally, there's part of me that thinks fate is a being, an individual. But then again, fate could also be just an idea. Not sure. Airport. Night of the Living Dead. And Legally Blonde. So here, with I Dreamed of Africa, does fate follow us everywhere we go? In our dreams, does fate follow us in our dreams? Does it follow us on the physical earth? We don't know. Does it follow us in the air? Does fate cause the accidents that we have? Night of the Living Dead. We had that last time. Does fate send bad things our way? Bad luck? Bad situations like a plane crash? Does fate send us the legal battles that we might have? Let's see what tarot has to say. Now you got to admit, these are all things about tarot, or excuse me, these are all things about fate we don't know. Things that are a mystery that we're really not meant to understand. We can speculate. Oh yeah, we can speculate. But we're not going to know until we're in spirit, and maybe not even then. Maybe fate just remains a mystery. So with tarot, we have the Six of Cups. Does fate feel anything? Does fate feel emotion? Does fate feel harmony? Does fate ever feel nostalgic? King of Swords. Is fate always logical? We don't know if it's warm. We don't know how brilliant, meaning smart, that fate is. We don't know much about it at all, but is fate always logical? Or do they feel? He, she, it. We have the Six of Pentacles. Has fate ever lived a life of service, of human service. We know that fate lives a life of service all the time because fate is what keeps us on the straight and narrow, right? So it's always in service. But has fate ever been in service as a human? We don't know. Seven of Swords. Does fate ever defend us? Or are we just never meant to know everything about fate that we need to? In other words, when you move to a new place like Africa, no matter how much study that you've done about the place, there's still a lot of things you don't know that you probably will encounter. Same scenario. Three of Cups with Airport. And this was, does fate cause the accidents that we have? Does fate bring people into our lives that way? People that we need to meet through these kinds of accidents. Is that the reason perhaps accidents happen to us? Knight of Wands. We've got the Knight of the Living Dead. The Knight of Wands is active energy. Does fate bring us things that go bump in the night? Does fate show us signs like this, disturbing signs? Is that the energy? And is it truly for our best good? We're guessing at it. We're pulling cards and that kind of thing to see what's what. But fate is an active energy. We know that for sure. But is it an active energy that is meant to do us good or not? And then the Four of Wands with the legal stuff, bringing us legal struggles perhaps. The Four of Wands is an energy of structure, an energy of stability. Does fate do the things that they do for our own good? For absolute sure. We don't know. All mysteries and speculation. All right, so on that note, I think we will do, just for fun, we will do the bonus question here. It's just very quick. Short, sweet, something that could be very helpful. All right. Oh, almost forgot one. Little cards sometimes are hard to see when I put them on top of the other ones and I skip them. All right, so we're almost there. Almost to the bonus question. All right, so the bonus. What message does fate have for us right now? What message does fate have for us right now? We have Man on Fire. We have I Am Legend. We have Jaws. we have spring. So we'll start with that. I feel like with Man on Fire, that fate is telling us he's a bodyguard. We may not know who he is or what he is, but he's a bodyguard. And everybody knows he exists. He's a legend, for sure. Sometimes he can be very, very scary. Terrifying, in fact. Other times, you consider him beautiful. Fate stepped in and did something beautiful. Then we have The Sound of Music. I Heard It Through the Grapevine. And Tarzan and His Mate. So with The Sound of Music, sometimes fate steps in and helps people create something fantastic, like music. And no matter, excuse me, and no matter what you hear through the grapevine about fate being deceitful and hiding truths from you, being the trickster, being blindsided by fate. Fate does it for your own survival. So let us see what else fate has to say through tarot. We have the King of Pentacles. Yeah, he's our bodyguard through our entire life, helping us structure and create the best life that we can create. And I Am Legend, King of Wands. Yes, this is the energy that fate has. He is the king of destiny, we'll say. He's legend. Then we have the Ten of Wands. The energy that he can put off, yes, he or she, it, whatever, can put off is terrifying. And it can go tenfold, that scary energy. It can start at level 1 and escalate, clear up, if need be. Knight of Cups. The appreciation. This is the active appreciation of beauty, thankfulness. Nine of Cups. I think this is fate's wish. That the frequency that he or she or it can keep all of us on our frequency. That we can hear our heart's song. Five of Swords. Whatever you hear through the grapevine is probably going to be lies about fate. That's just basic fact. Is he, she, it always out to get you? I don't see that. And then we have Death, which is transformation or actually death. So fate is here to help us survive until we transform back to spirit. So that is the message that fate has to share with us today. He gave us a little bit of information about who he, she, it is. And I keep saying he because the very first card that came out here was with a man, okay? So don't take it to heart. Fate can be whatever it is to you. So that is what we have for this Twilight Zone inspired episode 3. A teaser for episode 4. We will ask the cards, can a single wish tear through the fabric of time? And if so, what does it cost us? There's the teaser. And I've put the schedule up on the screen so you know what time this show is, as well as the other 2 shows that I share each week. And I want to thank you so much for being a part of this reading and a part of just the fun of it. And I hope that you will come back next week and see that episode 4, the Twilight Zone inspired series. So until next week, have a great one. Take care.